Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Last time around, we built all of this on our pinball machine. It's coming along wonderfully. With any luck, today's the day we'll finish it off. I can't wait. So why don't we just get right back into it. Alrighty, y'all. So we're gonna kick things off with our right side panel here. First things first, we've got two of these J6 pieces, and those are gonna go, it's actually somewhat hard to tell, I guess these larger slots right here with the angle, the short end being down. So let's go ahead and get that in. I'll show you what I mean. Should look like that when you're done. And then we take F57 and that'll go into these two slots just above it. Nice little shelf there. There we go, look at that. Now we're going to take Q2 here. Nice clear plastic. One side has two tabs. That's going to go into these two slots right there. Beautiful. And Q1 with the ball end going towards the back, and you've got these three tabs here, and they're going to go into these three tabs here, just like that. Very nice. Now from here we're going to pull out our front panel, and it might be easier to do this with the drawer out like this. But you've got these three big tabs here, and those will go into these three slots right there. All right, look at that. Okay, now comes the real fun part. Here is where we're gonna pull out this thing. That's right. The main game board here. Now it's going to line up with these slots here. Make sure all of your cables are coming down below and don't get pinched. And your flipper button here is going to go through this big square right there. So things should line up fairly well. Looks like this little hole right here is going to be for that Q2 tab, and then you've got these tabs along the top right here. Those will be for your Q1 tabs. So let's see if we can't do this. I think we did it. I think we got it in. Nice. And then we got some more tabs up here which will go in, so let's make sure we get all those nice and comfy as well. Beautiful. All right. With that in place, we're basically going to do the same thing, but for our left side. And again, we've got these tabs along here that will go in the tabs here. Make sure your cables are down below. All right, should look a little something like that when you're done. And look at that. We have what looks like pinball machine, or at least most of it. Very, very cool. Alright, switching camera angles here because this is getting a little too big for its britches. But you see we've got these 3 tabs on either side here. The top tabs and the bottom tabs are going to get some screws. We're going to be using the P43 screws that come out of bag 17. So let's go ahead and get those in. Alright, and there you go. It's what it should look like when you're done. And it is time to bring out this. That's right, the back. Now, this is going to be a lot of fun, to be honest. Okay. We get to the back here. Again, with all the cables, make sure they're coming down and in. We don't want them pinched. But you can see we've got these 2 tabs, and that's the same on both sides, okay? That's going to go into this slot here, and the same on the other side. And then I think it's on the back side here, okay? So it should slide into place if you make sure, yeah, you're not pinching any cables. There we go. Now there's a little slot here and a little cutout down here, and it should all fit right in nice and neat. At this point, if you wish, flip it up on its back side, however you want to think of it. Make sure your cables are not getting pinched, and they do not appear to be. Well, maybe this one is a little bit. So I'm going to play around and just make sure I've got nothing pinched and it's all good. And then we'll move on. Okay. Yeah, I moved this over to the left a little bit into this gap just to get it clear, and we seem to be good. Now, we've got 2 holes here and 2 more here. Same on the other side. We're going to be filling those with P45 screws that come out of bag 19. These right here. So let me go ahead and get those 8 screws in place. All right, and there you go. That is what they will look like when you're done. All right, next up, right down here, there's a slot, and next to it, you've got a bit of a hole here. You got 2 L3s, 1 for each side, and they're basically going to go like this, and of course you flip it over for the other side. This peg on top is going to go through that little hole, and this will hook into that slot. So let's get those in. All right, spectacular. Now we're going to bring out this, the bottom part of our front. Still has this warp in here, which is unfortunate. Hopefully this will not impact performance. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the short version is you got these hooks on the sides, and those will go in. Whoa, you can't actually see, can you? Hey, there we go. It'll go into these slots here along the top, and that seems to be the only connection points there are. So let's go ahead and get that in. Well, it's in, but it keeps popping back out again, and I'm not sure if it's because of the warp or if there's something else I'm missing, but those are the only connection points. So I think our drawer here was getting in the way, but it seems to be good now. All right, excellent. Let's see what's next. Okay, time to do a little more wiring. We're going to kick things off with this cable right here. This is the lights for the back, and it's going to come and it's going to plug into M4 here. All right, so there we go. We've got that in M4. Now this big long one that's down there, this is one of the sensors, okay? And that is going to plug into S4 way up here. Okay, now that we've got that done, we've got this. This is our speaker cable. That's going to come all the way down and plug into M5 down here. Very important you don't get this into the wrong thing. These have different volts and amperages, so you can blow that speaker out pretty quick if you get it in the wrong slot. All right, now we've got that one in. We have this. This is another one of those ball sensors. It's coming right out of here. That is going to go into S5 right here. Okay, with that done, we've got this. This is the power switch right here, right there. That will turn the music on and off, and that will go into S9 right here. Okay, now we've got this, which I'm going to be honest, I have absolutely no idea what this is anymore. I think that's another sensor, but I'm not sure. And it's going to go into S8. All right. And last but not least, this one down here at the bottom, this is our power adapter, and it's going to go into the slot labeled power. All right. And there is all of the cables connected. So in theory, we can now test the electronics. Alrighty, y'all, so you can see all of the lights are working, and I'm hoping you can hear the music is also working. So we know the sound is working, we know the lights are working. What's next? Well, as you can see over here, we have our lights. That's how many balls we have. And this light up here has been changing color, but we can test it with putting a ball in there. Well, there you go. Okay. Oh, look at that. And then you can also run your finger around the sensor and make sure that the scores are lighting up. Same thing over here. Good. The one up here. Yeah, all right. So our scores are climbing. Very nice. Very, very nice. And there we go. Yeah, all our bumpers are working. Oh, and there goes one of our lives. So that works too. Excellent. Looks like all of our electronics are fully functional. Beautiful. Okay, now that we know our electronics are fully functional, it's time to do a little cable management. We're going to kick things off with K15 here. You'll notice there's these little notches here. The power cord is going to go in here, and then the three next to it will go in those three with these two tabs. going right in here. So let's see if we can't make that happen. All right, should look a little something like that when you're done. All right, with that in place, we're gonna take these K2s right here. Should have 2 of them. Those are gonna go in the 4 holes here, and you got these 2 cables right here that are gonna go in between them. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, and with those in place, should look a bit like that when you're done. We are going to take K6, and that's going to go into these 2 holes and cover these 2 cables there. Okay, now that we've got that in place, we're going to come up a little more. We've got these 2 loose cables right here. They're going to get put together where these 2 holes are, and we're going to use another K2 to hold it in place. All right, there we go. Now we have K13 that will go here and separate those 3 cables just like that, and K14 here, which will go here to separate those. You've got a wider one and a shorter one, and it looks like the wide one is actually for the 2 smaller cables. So it should look like this when you're done. And last but not least, way up here in the shadows, we have this 1 cable right here, and we're going to use a K5 into these 2 holes to hold it in place. All right, and there you go, all nice and secure. And that is our cable channel right there. And we're going to finish this off a little bit with H8 and L8. And this tab on the bottom of L8 will go into H8 right there. And then this entire assembly is actually going to come into the front, into this little slot right there. There we go. Should look like that when you're done. Very, very nice. Okay, now if you're looking inside, you can see right here we've got these 2 little holes, and the same on the other side. What we're going to be doing, excuse my hand there, what we're going to be doing is taking these little brackets, these are P19s, come out of bag 1, and we've got 4 more of these little gold screws. These are P43 out of bag 17 to hold everything in place. So just place the bracket on, and right in the holes, place the screw. All right, there's one done way down there. This is next best thing to impossible to do around the camera, so I'm going to move this out of the way so I can get the second one. Okay, so right there and right there are our brackets in place and holding strong. Okay, now we're going to be putting the bottom on, finally. I'm going to start with L1 here. What a beautiful sheet of wood that is. And you'll notice we've got these little T-clips here on the top. And we've got, man, a couple little splitter things hanging out here. Okay, we got these little holes on the bottom. Now if you take a look right here, you can see there's like a little T slot. So you're gonna push the wide end through the hole and then push it down, okay, to lock it in place. And then here on the bottom, you've got these posts right here. That is for the holes on the bottom. So let's slide this thing in and make this happen. All right, just like that. Now with that in, you can take two L7s, and those will go in the little slots that are down here. All right, now that we've got those in, we've got two L2s. You'll notice there are two little slots here. There's two more on the other side. That's where these tabs are gonna go. All right, and there they are in place. Bonus, I think that might take care of the warp issue we had too. Next up, you've got these 4 slots along the side, and you've got L9s. And one on each side. We're just gonna slide them in. All right, so that is what it looks like from the bottom now. These things are holding the bottom in place quite securely. Be careful because this, like right in here, it can be fragile. So make sure that you're very careful when pushing all of those in. But now we have a solid bottom. Okay, next up, we have 2 of these C21s. And where they're gonna go, there are 2 holes right in here and 2 more on the other side. These are right above the exposed LED lights. And these little tabs will go into those holes to kind of cover it and offer them a little bit of protection. All right, so now we've got those in. If I have to guess, I'd say those were a bit of an afterthought because they're very hard to put in and really should have been done earlier in the build, or at least this one should have, when you put this barrier in. But that's okay, it's in now, and it's good. Now, we're gonna come over here to the button for the flipper, okay? And you're gonna take one of these, what the heck is this? J9. This circular piece here, big hole, it's gonna go right over that flipper button. And push that down as far as you can. So it looks kind of like that, okay? And there should be a groove right in front. That is for this little F23. Put the long end into that groove. It'll help lock that wood washer in place. Okay, and then we cover the whole thing with one of these. This is P24 out of bag 3. And there we go. Should look a bit like that when you're done. And then we do the same thing for the other side. All right, look at that thing on both sides, and very nice. All right, let's see what's next. All righty, we're gonna start building our third and final ramp. We're gonna kick things off with F15 here, and we've got F36. Make sure that the tab here is facing down, And that big slot, or a big hole, will go on this big slot, tab, whatever, and then so on and so forth all the way through with these little holes. There we go. It's important to note all of these pieces here are very fragile, so be very gentle and don't try to squeeze it like this. Try to get a fingernail or something in between when you're pushing in the barriers here, because you're going to end up with problems otherwise. Now, all of them do have spares, but you only got one spare, and I like to do things right the first time. Then we're going to take F12 here, and that little tab right there is going to go into that hole right there. Should look like that. And then we have F35, which will cover this side. All right, there we go. This railing is complete. Okay, now I'm going to take this. This is F38, and we have two of these little F41s, and they're going to go into these two slots right there. There we go, just like that. Now we're going to take F44 and one of these tiny little F32 pieces. F32 is going to go in that small hole right there. Okay, just like that. Leave some of it sticking out on the outside, flush on the inside. Okay. And with that in place, we're going to take this, we're going to flip it upside down. This tab here will go into that slot, and then these two will go into these two slots. Okay, should look like that when you're done. Now we'll bring out our railing, and that tab right there will go into that slot. Just like that. And now we take F43 and we do the same thing we did with F44. So we've got the F32 into here, and then it's going to go on to the other side. All right, so much for doing this right the first time. While putting this side on, this tab snapped off of this right here. So I ended up having to rebuild the whole thing. Thank God for the spares, right? But it's on now. Next up, you've got F45 and F46, and they're basically going to go on here, and you've got a small tab and a large one for right here, and then of course these tabs along top, which will go here, here, and here, one on each side. It's pretty obvious where everything's going to go. So let me just get that in. All right, look at that. And our last ramp is complete. Bringing this back out. All right, you've got these little hooks here. Those will go down in there. This tab here will go into this little slot right here, and then these two slots will go around your assembly right here. Should be pretty clear where it's going by now, so let's get those in. Oh, one more thing, there are two little posts here. Those will go, or two slots I should say, and those will go on the posts right there. All right, there it is. The final ramp assembly complete. Absolutely incredible. Alrighty, y'all, we are almost done. Just some final touches and we're good to go. We're going to kick things off with some assemblies here. So we're going to start with C30. And we have these little F1 pieces. And then we're going to go with let's see. Looks like one F66, one F65. So 65, 66, and one F63 and one F64. That would be these. All right. So we'll start by putting a little pin in 63 here, kind of like that, and that will go in this upper hole here. All right, and then F64 will go here. So you have something that kind of looks like that. Then we're going to take F65, and it doesn't really matter if you put the pin through here first or however you want to do it. It's fine. And then F65 on one side, F66 on the other. So what you end up with is something that looks like this. Now, the objective here is going to be for F68 in this case. These two tabs will go into those two slots. Sadly, we can't put that in just yet because that hole needs to be filled and this will block it. So it's going to make things a little harder, but it is what it is. Now, we've got this. We're going to build another one. And there you go. Now we've got two. Awesome. All right. Now that we've got those assembled, we'll take J10 here, and that's going to go into this big slot right up there. There you go. Now it's very important that this goes all the way in because this is to help the ball go around this curve here whenever you're launching it. Then we're going to come down here. We've got C32 and C33. Big circle is going to cover the screw, and then the big hole will line up with the one below on both sides. And then we cover that with, there we go. Got them backwards. F68 and F67, which again, big hole will line up with the other big hole. And now we have two J11s that'll go through that big hole to hold it in place. All right, should look like that when you're done. And now in those two little holes here, you've got the legs for your elephants. So let's get those in place. And there it is. There you go. This is it. The pinball machine is complete and ready for action. So let's say we power this thing up and play a game. Ah, well. Didn't quite make it, but pretty good. Not too bad. Now you hear that music? That little switch is not a power switch. That little switch turns the music on and off, which, I'm not so sure I like the music because that gets annoying after a while. Anyway, that, my friends, is all she wrote. I hope you liked it. I certainly did. If you did like the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.